They say the Atlantic Ocean separates worlds. But what if it created them? Stretching across the globe like a deep blue scar, the Atlantic wasn't always there. In fact, there was a time, millions of years ago, when you could walk from Africa to South America. So, what happened? How did an ancient land tear itself apart to form one of the most powerful forces on Earth? And how did this ocean shape the rise and fall of empires, continents, and even civilizations? Let's dive into the incredible story of the Atlantic Ocean, the ocean that split the world and brought it back together. Long before ships crossed it, long before maps marked it, the Atlantic didn't exist. Travel back 200 million years. One giant supercontinent, Pangaea, a vast stretch of land where all the continents we know today were fused together. But deep beneath the surface, the Earth was restless. Tectonic plates began to shift. Pressure built, magma rose, and slowly, very slowly, the Earth cracked open. This was no small crack. It was the birth of an ocean. Molten rock surged upward, forming the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, an underwater mountain range that still grows today. Inch by inch, the land pulled apart. The Atlantic Ocean was forming, not in a day, not even in a million, but over eons. But here's the curious part. The Atlantic is still growing. Right now, as you watch this video, Europe and America are drifting farther apart, about an inch every year. What will the Earth look like in another 200 million years? For ancient civilizations, the Atlantic wasn't just an ocean, it was a mystery. To the Phoenicians, it was the Sea of Darkness. The Greeks feared it, thinking it led to the edge of the world. Even the mighty Romans barely dared venture far into its endless expanse. But some may have crossed it, long before Columbus. There are tantalizing hints, stone tools in Brazil that resemble African styles, maps like the Piri-Reis that show parts of South America centuries too early. Could ancient explorers have reached the Americas by sailing across the Atlantic? We may never know, but the Atlantic has always tempted the bold. Then, in the 15th century, everything changed. Portuguese and Spanish ships, armed with sails, ambition, and cannons, ventured westward. Columbus, Vasco da Gama, Magellan. The Atlantic was no longer a barrier. It became a bridge. But this bridge came at a price. The Atlantic slave trade turned the ocean into a corridor of unimaginable suffering. Millions of Africans were forced across the water to labor in the Americas. For over 300 years, the Atlantic became a triangle of trade. Goods from Europe, slaves from Africa, crops from the Americas, sugar, tobacco, cotton, fueled by human lives. It's a dark chapter in the Atlantic's history, but one that shaped our world. And even now, ships that sail the Atlantic follow the same winds, the same currents, the same routes carved out centuries ago. Control of the Atlantic meant power. Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, and later the United States all fought to command this ocean. Naval battles raged from the Caribbean to the icy North Atlantic. Whole wars were won or lost based on who controlled the sea lanes. The Battle of the Atlantic in World War II became the longest continuous military campaign of the war. German U-boats stalked Allied convoys, trying to choke off Britain's lifeline. It was a deadly chess game across the waves. But the Atlantic always had the final say. Storms could smash fleets, icebergs could sink unsinkable ships. Nature reminded everyone, this ocean answers to no one. Even today, the Atlantic keeps its secrets. There are shipwrecks lost to history, Spanish galleons heavy with gold, wartime vessels swallowed whole. Some lie 3 miles down, perfectly preserved in the freezing dark. Then there's the curious case of the Bimini Road, underwater stone structures off the coast of the Bahamas. Some believe they're natural formations. Others claim they're remnants of a lost civilization, maybe even Atlantis. And speaking of Atlantis, Plato placed the mythical city beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. That puts it squarely in the Atlantic. Coincidence or something more? Despite its violent history and mysterious depths, the Atlantic has always connected. Today, Transatlantic cables carry the internet between continents. Planes fly over it in hours. But centuries ago, messages took months, and lives were gambled on the crossing. The Atlantic has shaped language, food, music, and culture. It's why Brazil speaks Portuguese, why reggae echoes from Jamaica, why New York and London are twin powerhouses. The Atlantic didn't just split the world, it reshaped it, tied it together in new ways, and continues to evolve. And here's what's most fascinating. The Atlantic is alive. It grows, it shifts, it breathes through its currents, pulling warm water north and cold water south. It shapes climate, storms, and life itself. It has been a cradle of exploration and exploitation, a highway for trade and terror, a stage for history's greatest voyages, and humanity's darkest journeys. But above all, it endures. The Atlantic Ocean is not just water between continents. It's the ever-changing force that has split, shaped, and united our world for millions of years and millions more to come. So next time you stare out over the waves, remember, you're looking at an ancient divide that became a lifeline. If this story of the Atlantic Ocean fascinated you, hit that like button, share it with fellow ocean history lovers, and drop a comment. What do you think is the greatest mystery still hidden beneath the waves? Until next time, keep exploring, because history is always deeper than it seems.